Today I'm going to share with you one of my favorite ways to make a quick and easy ribbon embellishment for my cards and projects. All you need is a piece of ribbon and a pen or something similar to a pen. I have shown this before in other videos, but in my last video I was off camera a little bit when I made this embellishment, and I did receive requests to share this with you. So I'm happy to do that. Here's a quick and easy video for your reference when you want to make some pretty quick and easy ribbon embellishments for your cards too. So let's get started. So for today's video, I'm going to use two different kinds of ribbon. I'm using our glittered organdy ribbon and our pool party sheer ribbon, and these can both be found on the organdy ribbon is on page 146 of our annual catalog, and the pool party is on page 145 of our annual catalog, our 2022-2023 catalog. Now you can do this with narrow ribbons as well as wider ribbons, but these are the ones I'm going to be using today, and they're both pretty much the same width. They are 1 centimeter 3/8 of an inch. So I actually don't have a card design in mind. So I flipped through my catalog because yesterday I received the new Lovely and Lasting Suite, and they are found on page 24 and 25 of our new catalog. Let me zoom out for you. So look how pretty. Love this stamp set, the coordinating punch, the coordinating designer series paper, and then I've got a new package of evening evergreen cardstock. Okay, so I know I want to use those for today's card, and I'm going to use this card design as my inspiration for the card too. So that's another reason why I love our catalogs full of inspiration. I'm going to take out a piece of my evening evergreen. Okay, so I've scored at my 4 1/4, and now I'm cutting at the 5 1/2 mark, so that is creating 2 card bases. Alternatively, you could score at 5 1/2 and spin it around and cut it down at the 4 1/4, so you get 2 different card bases. But this is one I use the most, so I'm going to set that aside. Now I'm going to get a piece of designer series paper. So this is my first time looking at this in person, so very exciting. I love that. Okay, look at all the pretty patterns. You know, I've been stamping for many years, and for those of you who follow my channel and know me, this is my 20th year with Stampin' Up, and can I just tell you, it never gets old seeing our new products and playing with new products, or even playing with my old products. I still have so much fun, but my point is I still get so excited when I get all my goodies to craft with. All right, so let's use the same pattern that they're using on the card in the catalog, which I think maybe this one right here. Okay, so that's one we're going to use. So I'm going to cut that down, and I'm going to cut it at 4 1/8 by 5 7/8. I'm going to cut a little bit more this way, but that's okay. Now I need a piece of basic white, so I'm going to cut this down at let's see, I'm going to cut this one down at 4 by 5 1/4. I actually might want that to be a bit smaller. We'll see how it looks first. Yeah, I do want that to be a bit smaller, so I'm going to cut this at 3 3/4 by 5, because I want more of that designer series paper to show. See, that looks good. Sometimes when you're using photopolymer for the first time, what I like to do is take my Versamark ink pad, because I'm going to be using markers directly on this, and this kind of conditions your stamp for the first time, just so that the the ink from the markers adhere better to a photopolymer, and that's just when they're new, and that's just something I do. So I'm going to use the colors that are in this designer series paper. So let me bring in this extra piece so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. I love using markers direct to stamps. So I'm going to start with my, I'm going to use pale papaya. I'm going to use the sweet sorbet. Let's start with those. So I'm going to use the bowl tip, and I'm just going right on top of the flowers. So the bonus with this video, me showing you how to make a simple bow, and I'm actually showing you how to make a simple card from start to finish too. So why not? Why not? I'm just going to go over the whole thing right in the middle too. A little flower here. Okay, now I'm going to add some sweet sorbet, and I'm going to do the sweet sorbet in the middle, the center of the flowers, and then a little bit above it. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of red on these other flowers. Now there's soft succulent in this designer series paper. I know the pattern that I chose just has the evening evergreen, but I want to pull in all those colors. So I'm just doing all the leaves in the soft succulent, and I can see I missed a little bit of ink on this one, so I'll go back in a second. I'm going to take my pale papaya and just get that a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to take my evening evergreen, and I'm just going to go on the tips of these leaves. So now that I've got all the ink on my stamp, I have a couple of choices. I could just huff on this stamp and re-moisten any ink that is dried with my breath, or you could lightly mist this stamp and get a water look, and that's something I'm going to do. So I'm using one of our Stampin' Spritzers from Stampin' Up. I'm going to bring in a piece of paper here so I don't get water everywhere, and I'm just going to hold it probably about that far away. Let's see how it comes out first. Yeah, there we go. And lightly mist. And again, this is just basic white cardstock, not watercolor cardstock. You'd get a beautiful different look if you use the watercolor cardstock or even our shimmery white. Look how pretty that is. I just love doing stamps that way with my inks and the water. See how pretty? Okay, so, and I got a smudge mark because I got ink on my fingers, but that's okay. I'm going to cover that up. So now it's time to make the bow. So I'm going to use the glittered organda. Let's move this out of the way so you can see the purpose of the whole video now, how to make these fun ribbon bows. So I'm just going to measure out so that I've got about 1.5 inches past my width of my paper. So I'm just going to cut this. So you could use a pen, a paintbrush, or even the Stampin' Mister. What you want, guys, is something that's smooth so that this will slide off easily. So I'm just going to start with my pen, in this case my marker, Sharpie, and I'm just going to tie a knot really, really tightly. Okay, just a plain old knot. You kind of want to pull your ends so that they're kind of straight on each side. Okay, then you're going to slide it off, and that's why you need to use something smooth, because otherwise sliding it off is going to be tricky. So, and then all I'm going to do is put my scissors in the middle, and I like to go on a diagonal, and I'm just going to cut that, and there's my ribbon knot. Cool, huh? So I'm gonna grab a glue dot, position that right there. And I'm gonna take my tear and tape and just put a strip along the back. And you'll see I just have a tiny end here, and that's because instead of putting the bow in the center of the card, I did slide it over, but that's okay. I have plenty of ribbon to work with. Trim off that little bit. I'm going to stamp the happy birthday, and I probably should have stamped before I put the ribbon on, but that's okay. And I'm just going to use the Evening Evergreen ink pad, and I'm going to stamp my happy birthday right over here in the corner. And to finish the card, I'm going to put a large basic rhinestone in the center, and actually I'm going to put a smaller one here, the medium size, because it's a bit smaller, this flower. Some paper for the inside. It's just computer paper that I cut down at 4 and 5 1/4. There's my finished card using that quick and easy bow. So I'm going to show you one more quick card, and for the bow on the next card I'm going to use the Stampin' Spritzer because it's wider, so it's going to give you just a bigger bow. So let's do that. So I'm going to use this extra card base that I already have. I'm going to bring this piece in that I also already have, and I'm going to cut that down. This time I'm going to do it at 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to cut my paper at 5 by 3 3/4, same as I did on the previous card. And I'm going to make these blue flowers instead because I am going to be using Pool Party ribbon. So I want to tie that ribbon in. So this time I'm inking up the entire stamp with my Pool Party. And then the other color in this paper is Night of Navy. So I'm going to bring in my Night of Navy marker, and I'm just going to add that to the center. So I'm doing the same thing as that I did on the first card, except the Pale Papaya portion is now Pool Party, and the Sweet Sorbet is the Night of Navy. And I just went ahead and stamped the whole stamp with the Pool Party because I knew the colors I'd be using on top of this would be darker than the Pool Party, so it was just quicker than inking those flowers individually with my marker. That was my thought process there. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my Soft Succulent and my Evening Evergreen marker. So I'm just going over on the leaves and the stems. I'm going to mist it with water again because I just love that look. I'm going to bring this in. Actually, let's mist it first. Okay. And then when you mist too, you want to hold it down for a few seconds so that that water really gets into the cardstock. I have such a habit of just gravitating towards my basic white, and I have this shimmery white and our watercolor cardstock, and I really need to pull them out because I love them and you get such a different look. But look at that with the blues. Isn't that gorgeous? Just so gorgeous. I love it. All right, now I'm going to do something else to the card I didn't do in the first card. This sample shows that it has been run through an embossing folder. Definitely want to do that for this card. So the embossing folder used in the card sample is, I hope I say this right, quatrefoil tile, but I'm going to use the gingham. Didn't that come out so pretty? I love it. that added texture. Okay, so now we are going to bring in this pool party, and we are going to use the Stampin' Spritzer. Okay, so remember, the wider your pen or whatever instrument you're using to make these ribbon embellishments, and the different widths of your ribbon is going to give you a different look, right? So I'm going to pull that tightly. Try to go side to side so that this is straight and not diagonal, and slide it off. Snip it up the center loop. And you get a longer ribbon bow. I want to stamp my sentiment, and I want to use the new punch. So I'm going to pull out a scrap piece of basic white. I'm going to pull in the Night of Navy ink pad, and this time I'm going to stamp the thank you, because you can never have too many thank you cards, right? Just stick that on my block. And this is going to be a very well used punch. I love the design on this. I'm going to use these fun little stamps just to embellish a little bit. I'm going to use this one right here. And I'm going to stamp that with Pool Party. And then I'm going to take my, I'm actually going to take the Sweet Sorbet, and I'm going to go in the center of this. And then my Soft or Evening Evergreen on the leaves. So it's going to be a little bit different than the original flower, but that's all right. So I'm going to stamp that here, I think. And then we have another pretty little stamp. Let's see how that fits. That can go right there. I'm going to want that to go there. So my bow, I'm going to want it to go over here this time. Okay, so I'm going to grab my glue dot, put it on the back. I'm going to put that right there. Put down some tear and tape. Didn't leave myself very much room on this side. I'm just going to grab a glue dot, get it right on the edge here to fold that ribbon over. There we go. Like, look how quick and simple that embellishment is. Like, I just love it. Okay, let's grab some dimensionals for this guy. And then that is that card finished. So those ribbons are so easy. You don't have to fuss with making bows. They're so fast and easy. And you can see that, you know, I've got the smaller ribbon on the first card. So again, the width of whatever tool you're using to make these bows will determine how big these bits are going to be when you cut them in the center. So there you have it, friends. It doesn't get much easier or quicker when it comes to making your ribbon embellishments for your cards. I hope you enjoyed today's demonstration and that you have lots of fun making these as well. Take care, I appreciate you, and happy stamping.